This is a brake line kit that we're going to use on the 8.8, which is going to help us plumb the rear. Whoops. It was like that when I got here. Back on the brakes. I have a lot to do in this video, and a lot of it's kind of tedious, and I realized in the last video sometimes tedious things like this take 40 minutes to show on video because I go into detail a lot with this stuff. Well, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach on this one. I'm going to kind of probably rapid fire some stuff because I just got a lot of little stuff to get done. So might be a lot of time lapses here, maybe not a whole lot of explanation until I'm done, but just hang out with me because I've got to get this stuff kind of knocked out, and stopping and filming is going to really or explaining a whole lot is going to really kind of slow down the process, and I don't think I really need to because I can go over it when we're done. And basically, you know, to give you a synopsis of what I'm going to try to do in this video is I'm going to try to run a brake line from here down all the way back. In order to do that, I need to know where it needs to go. This is something I cut off the truck originally, and what's kind of cool is this line right here is the rear brake line. It actually bolts into this vent tube with all the hardware that came off of my factory 8 1/4 rear end. So that's cool, and I'm going to mount it to this bracket here. I'm just gonna basically just, you know, reuse this and weld it on the frame. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm gonna cut this up, trim it up real quick, and then get it mocked up, weld it on, and then I'll show you some parts that I got for the rear end for the rest of the brakes. And yeah, we're gonna get this going pretty good here. So let's at least get this done tonight so I can work on the brake line tomorrow. This, and then all its copper colored glory, is my new front to rear brake line for the Dakota for the 8.8 rear disc brakes. And well, as you guys are looking at it right here, I just kind of went postal with it. I just kind of got underneath the truck, started looking at it, and decided, you know what, I'm avoiding this. Let's just try to make it happen. And I got it done, and it looks pretty darn good. I need to hook it all back up. I just got done flaring this end that goes into the adjustable proportioning valve. So I'm going to put that on here in a minute, and I'll show you guys how it looks when it's on. But I also, as you guys saw me in the beginning, I welded this bracket on, which was the original bracket for the original brake line for the truck. And this came off the 8 1/4 rear end, and it bolts with this, like, it's a 2-in-1. It's a bolt and a vent tube. So I have a place to put my brake lines, go over the axle, so I still have to make those, and I have some stuff for that, and that's going to be really cool. But yeah, I wasn't intending on making this line, but you know what, it's Friday night. I don't have much going on tomorrow, and I was like, you know what, let me just try to get it done. So let me get it back up and bolted on and in place, and then I'll show you guys that, and I'll shut it down for tonight, and we'll get some more work done on this brakes and stuff tomorrow. Brake line is on. I'm pretty proud of this, actually. This is the bracket, like I said, goes through the opening here. It's not hitting anything. Nice, clear and free. Runs on the top of the frame right here. I did that because the gas tank hangs out right here, so I don't want to run it on the inside. If you can see in there, I don't know if you can, it runs along the frame all the way down there. If you can't see it, just have to take my word. And then I have it coming up here, bloop, 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 into the proportioning valve, and everything lines up pretty good, and I'm super happy with it. It's a little close to the booster, but not too bad. And well, that part is done, and that was one of the most difficult things that I had to do for the brakes for the rear end. Now tomorrow, excuse me, now tomorrow what I need to do is I'm going to run new braided brake cables to here and make a hard line over there, and then I have a few more things for the rear end I want to try to get done. I don't know if I'm gonna get those done in this video, but the brakes are coming along, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's doing something outside right now that it hasn't done in over 30 days, and you can probably only hear it, but there are raindrops that are hitting the ground, and we're in a severe drought, so yay! Our power is flickering off and on, but I guess that's part of the part of it. We'll deal with that as we go, but that's exciting. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys, but I've got some parts to show you. So I got a box here with some stuff in it. This is for later. We're not going to worry about that, but this is for now. This is a brake line kit that we're going to use on the 8.8, which is going to help us plumb the rear. Whoops. It was like that when I got here. We're going to plumb a line from here to over here somewhere so that we can run our brake lines to here. So there's a caveat to this kit, and here's the number if you want to see it. I got it from Speedway Motors. It is 617-8561. This is a 10mm steel brake line kit for a banjo feeding. The problem is the Explorer rear end is not metric, so I had to order some 3/8 by 24 banjo bolts. The good thing is apparently the diameter is the same, so they should work no problem. So I bought the kit, the metric kit, and then 2 bolts for that, and then I got these cool little guys right here, and I'll show you the part number on that too if I can find it. 916-36004, and what they are stainless steel shock mounts. So the plan is to get these shock mounts mounted somewhere on here, and then we'll be able to mount a shock to it. I mean that's pretty much it. You know, there's not much more to it than that. These are for like a frame mount, but they're gonna be perfect for this. So that's I'm gonna try to do those things. I'm definitely doing the brake right now. I don't know if I'll get to these because it's gonna take some measuring, but wanted to show you guys that, and then I'm gonna get this stuff mocked up, and then show you what we're after next. Well, bad news. There's supposed to be these adapters that will go into these frame mounts, or sorry, axle mounts, that holds everything in place with these clips. They are not included in this bag, so they're missing. So I'm gonna have to call Speedway tomorrow and see if they can ship me out those, because I need them to be able to get this stuff done. So not a big deal, it happens. But I'll kind of play with it for now, but I might be at a stopping point on that one. But it is what it is. I may actually get the truck, the rear, off of these cradles, because I need to pull the wheels off, mount the other caliper and stuff like that. So maybe that gives me a good excuse to do that. So anyways, all right, I'm gonna get working. Well, I'm super stoked that it's still, the ground's still wet, because it's still kind of drizzling and raining out here, which is, it's just a blessing for us, because like I said, it's been over 30 days without any rain, especially for my house. So probably more like a month and a half, maybe 2 months without rain. So that's wonderful. We're hoping we get some more this week before it dries up. But the best thing about it all is it dropped the temperature out here dramatically, and you know what, I just decided to take advantage of that. And you guys saw me just going postal on making the rear end brake lines. And well, here's kind of the end product. I do have to finish these tabs on, which I'll do once I get the tires off. But you know, this is the Dakota rear brake line, and I got it going into the vent for the 8.8. Got a short little stant here going into the where the braided steel lines are going to be. I don't have the caliper and stuff on this side, so I still have some stuff to update, but that's this line here, and I think it looks pretty good. Like, it's, you know, it's hard to get it to go around here and be, you know, absolutely symmetrical. Hey, that just helps some, but it looks great. And it's going to give me plenty of room to, I may have to just lop a little bit of that end off there before I'm done. But I'm going to call Speedway Motors tomorrow to see if they can get me those adapters so I can finish all that up and make sure it looks good. Be able to take the caliper off. I'm pretty sure I've got plenty of slack to do so. But I do have to test that. And the brake lines are all made, other than I gotta flare these two, but I'll do that once I get those adapters. But yeah, one thing I noticed today, that when I've been welding earlier in this poor frame, you know, my ugly little welds for my frame stuff, I believe I had set stuff for 110 instead of 120 because I didn't look at the gauge right. I think I was looking at this gauge and not this gauge. So if you look here, 120 volts, there's your settings. 240 volts, here's your settings, and I may have screwed that one up. I hope you guys are ready for some redneck math, because that's what I am here to give you guys today. So these are the shock mounts that I ordered from Speedway Motors, and they're actually like upper shock mounts, but they're going to work perfect for what I'm doing. And I'm going to weld them to where the sway bar used to mount on the 8.8. But I am going to use some Galvert Racing 9-way adjustable shocks that are ordered, but they're not here. And long story short, couple math, couple phone calls, couple conversations with some friends, I'm going to be using shocks that have an ideal ride height of 14 3/4 inches. The problem is the shocks bottom out at 12 3/4 inches, but they'll extend to 19 3/4 inches. So basically there's what is that? It's about 4 inches of travel from 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, about 19, I think it's like 1875. So 4 inches travel out, which is extension. It only has 2 inches of travel compression, which really bothered me, because I was thinking this Dakota is probably, you know, gonna move up and down more than 2 inches. Well, I called Galvert Racing and I talked to my friends, and basically because of the Caltrack bars and the split monos and everything else, these shocks are not, they're designed like that because the Caltracks limit a lot of up and down down travel in the back of the truck. So they don't really see a lot of more compression, more of an inch, inch and a half. And per Galvert Racing, they don't have issues with the shocks bottoming out. I will probably install some kind of bump stop to try to prevent that from happening. But long story short, I think that 1475 shock length is going to work. However, I had to do some measurements, and you can see my measurements here. What I did is I ran this piece of wood down in here. This circle is the circle that I made from the hole down there. Of course, just gonna drop it. I've been doing this all day, so I'm used to it. and made a hole down there, and then I drew a line at the bottom of this here, because the bottom is going to be about the center point for the bolt underneath this mounting surface here. So if I can stop dropping this stupid thing, here's what I came up with. So I had it at where this point right there and the point up here was basically 15 inches. And then I thought about that. I was like, well, and I'll show you guys this. This is where I was. Actually, it was 14 3/4, actually. Exactly 14 3/4. And I was like, well, the bed probably weighs at least 250 pounds. And well, that's going to make the compression squat some. And I weigh 200, so it was a good test for me to kind of sit on this thing, which was not graceful. I'm not going to do it again, and find out how much the suspension dropped. Well, with me on it, the suspension dropped about 3/8 of an inch. So I know that I probably need to do some adjusting on how I had this mounted. So I moved it down a 1/2 inch from the top. It was flush. Now it's down 1/2 inch. And then I did some remeasuring the same exact way, where I drew a circle down there. I marked the bottom of this, and you can see that now I'm at 15 1/8 with the simulated bed, if I can ever get it there. And I'm sorry, without the simulated bed, and then 14 3/4 with the bed. So 14 3/4, or 14 3/4 is the ideal ride height for the Calvert Racing shocks that I'm buying. But the bed probably weighs a little bit more. I'm thinking there's probably another 50 pounds there. And a full tank of gas is somewhere around at least 60 pounds, if not more, because 1 pound of gasoline is about 6 pounds. So I'm gonna build that in, and I'm gonna move this down 3/4 of an inch instead of just a 1/2, because I think there's still maybe another I don't know, 3/8 of an inch there, something like that. And I want to make sure that we're not bottoming out that shock. So if I do that, that'll give me the right amounts, I think, before I weld it all in. And I think that'll be the kicker. I think we'll be good to go after that. So what I'm going to do is measure 3/4 of an inch from the top of this here to the top of this here, clamp it back down, and then I'm going to do some welding. So I laid down some of the nicest welds that I've done to date. Really proud of this one here. This one's pretty good, but I put a bubble at the top because I was trying to merge the tack to the rest of it. The outside ones, this one's not so bad. That one's, well, it's not very pretty. It's because I didn't think I was in the channel, and I was. So I went over it. So there's like I tried to make it look prettier is what I tried to do, and it did the opposite result. But that's done, guys, girls, and yeah, I'm super happy with it. I got one more thing to do. Brake hardware did not come in yet, so I'm going to finish that up this weekend when it comes in. I do need to weld the tabs on the rest of the way, which I might do here in a second. I just can't get to this side, so I kind of want to wait till I can get to both sides to do it. So that'll probably I'll just have to wait, which is probably for the best. But got one more thing to do before we shut it down. This is a Summit Racing rear differential cover, and it's a loading rear differential cover, what puts a little bit of pressure on the caps to make sure that they stay strong. If you look right here, Summit part number, if you can see it there, I can't quite see it, but I'll take you know, I can read it here. SME 8510500 NL. And well, I just want you guys to know that this is pretty common, and some people already know this, but this may be a Summit part, but somebody else makes it. And for this one, TrickFlow makes it. And the one way I can tell that right here is because TFS, TrickFlow Specialties. So this is a non-brand brand name thing cover. But anyway, the reason I'm going to use this though is, one, I mean, it looks cool, right? We all like it looking cool. But there is a fill plug on these 8.8s, and it's right here on this one. And this dude is so stripped out, he's never coming out again. But that's where this is very beneficial, because yeah, it's a better diff housing cover, but what's cool is it's got a drain and a fill. And so that makes it nice and easy to be able to fill the differential. Plus, I bought a lube locker gasket, which is a reusable differential gasket. So, I think this is totally worth the money. And, well, let me go ahead and pull this dude off, put that dude on, and, yeah, we'll get to it. I thought this was going to be a little easier, so I didn't, like, plan on going over it with you guys. But these are the studs that go against the end caps on the rear end, and you have to run them through one side all the way back out the other, like this one here. But I had a little problem doing it, so I had to put it in the vise, and then I put a little oil on it, and then I had to use my Allen wrench to kind of get it done. So make sure you take your time with this, because there's a bunch of junk in these fresh machine threads. And yeah, just be careful with it, and you can kind of see all the extra aluminum that is in there and on the threads there. But also, it comes with two plugs. One has a magnet on it. Magnet goes on the bottom for when you drain it out, it catches the metal material that might be from the clutches or anything else. And then this is just a regular hex plug that goes in for the fill. I am going to eventually put some RTV on these, but not for the initial installation, because I still have to fill it up and stuff. So it's something I'll do here when I get ready to fill it up. But these are in all the way in, so this is prepared. Now I gotta go pull the other guy off and then throw this guy on, show you the procedure with that, and we'll be good. She's all done. Well, sort of. I have some painting and that brake stuff to do, but rear end cover is on. Check that out. It looks awesome. Quick reference, 25 foot-pounds on the bolts, perimeter bolts, 10 foot-pounds on these guys that press against the caps, and then 10 foot-pounds on the lock nuts. And I put a little silicone on there just in case RTV tries to leak out later. And well, you know, I'm just a couple parts from being done with the rear end, so that's really exciting. And in fact, we'll be done the next video because I'll have the shocks and I'll have the parts to finish the brakes, and that's awesome. The only thing I'm still kind of meandering about is how to get the emergency brake to work, but I have an idea. I just got to get the Tractor Supply to see if I can make it work. So anyways, this has been one heck of a journey, and well, it's so cool. I'm learning to weld pretty well, not pretty well, okay, and that's good because okay will hold stuff together. And I'm fairly confident those shock mounts are going to be just fine, and I'm excited that I was able to do that. And I'm learning some fabrication skills, and you know, the only way to get this stuff done and learn this stuff is to do it. Just for example, I used to be so afraid of front suspension work, it wasn't even funny. And this project, in fact, it may have been this project, one or the other, you know, I decided I needed to learn it, and I did it, and now I'm comfortable with it. So it's, if you're curious about doing something, you know, do your research first, but you know, go out there and give it a try. But let me know what you think, because I think it came out really well, and I can't wait to have this thing back on the road. So we still got a lot to do. I've got to measure for a drive shaft, so I got to have someone to come over and help me do that. But coming up next is we are going to finish the rear end with the shocks and the brakes getting done, and then we're gonna start pressure washing stuff, and I'm gonna try to get this bed on some stands, get it soaked down with a purple cleaner and a brush, and pressure wash the crap out of this, because I used to off-road this truck when I was a dumb 17-year-old who just didn't know any better. And there's all kinds of dirt obviously underneath that, and there's all kinds of dirt underneath the cab and on the frame, and all it does is get in my eye. And well, I'm tired of that happening, so I'm going to find a way to pressure wash the bed before it goes back on, and then also the cab of the truck. So I've basically restored the front and the rear now, but got to work on in the middle. so that's the plan. But oh man, what a journey. So let me know what you think of the project. Like I said, this was a quick kind of like rapid fire, get a lot of little stuff done, and I have this weekend and the last couple days. So I'm excited because I can sleep well knowing that most of the stuff that I have to do is done. So I also got to do a little painting coming up here, but obviously we got a whole bunch of stuff. If you're new to the channel, we'd love to have you come hang out with us, so please consider subscribing and doing so. Other than that, we kind of hang out on Facebook and Instagram. I'm trying to get better about posting stuff on there and interacting with you guys, but follow us on there, and I'll do my best to post some more stuff. So well, thanks for coming along. I'm gonna shut it down, go take a shower, and think about what I got to do next. Probably make a list. That's probably a good idea. So all right, until next time, thank you guys so much, and you know, until then, y'all be good.